Rachel stared at the invitation for a long moment, feeling her chest tighten as memories she had buried came rushing back. Daniel Mercer sending her a wedding invitation after 5 years of silence could mean only one thing: he wanted to show off. He always loved an audience, always loved being the man people envied. Back when they were married, he used to say he deserved a life far bigger than what she could give. When he walked out, he didn't just abandon a marriage, he abandoned the woman who still believed in him. She had discovered she was pregnant with triplets only weeks after the divorce papers were finalized. She tried calling him, emailing him, messaging his family, but everyone acted as though she no longer existed. Alone in her tiny Chicago apartment, she worked 2 exhausting jobs while taking online classes to become a certified medical billing specialist. Nights were long, bills were endless, and sleep was a luxury she couldn't afford. But her sons became her strength. Every smile, every tiny hand wrapped around her finger pushed her forward. Over time, with discipline and determination, she opened a small pediatric care billing service that slowly gained clients. Now, invitation in hand, she realized something: she was no longer the woman he left. Daniel lounged back in his leather chair at the rehearsal dinner, swirling his drink with a smug satisfaction that made his friends laugh even when the jokes weren't funny. He loved the attention, loved the idea that tomorrow he would stand in front of Chicago's elite as a self-made success story. When Brooke asked casually why he invited his ex-wife, he grinned in a way that made her uncomfortable. Because she still lives in that run-down apartment. She'll probably show up in the same kind of cheap dress she used to wear. It'll remind everyone how far I've come. Brooke forced a smile, though a knot formed in her stomach. She had heard fragments of his past but never sensed compassion in the way he spoke about it. Daniel, loving the reaction, leaned closer to his friends and continued bragging. "You'll see. Rachel always said I'd regret leaving her. Tomorrow she'll regret ever thinking she deserved me." His friends chuckled uneasily, but none dared to disagree. Later, when the noise quieted, Brooke whispered, "Don't you think this is a little cruel?" Daniel shrugged and kissed her hand. "She made her choices. I'm just living mine." He didn't know that life was about to teach him a lesson he never saw coming. Guests were still finding their seats when the long black stretch limo rolled up to the front entrance of the lakeside venue. Conversations quieted, heads turned, and a few people even stood from their chairs to get a better look. When the chauffeur stepped out and opened the door, a woman in an elegant navy gown emerged with the kind of calm confidence that instantly commanded attention. It took several seconds before people realized who she was: Rachel Mercer. Before the whispers could settle, 3 identical little boys stepped out behind her, dressed in perfectly fitted tuxedos and holding hands. Gasps rippled across the entrance. The boys carried the unmistakable Mercer features: Daniel's eyes, Daniel's smile, even the same dimple in the left cheek. The resemblance was so strong that no one could pretend not to see it. Inside the venue, a groomsman rushed to Daniel. "Dude, you need to come outside. Now." Daniel, irritated, straightened his tie and stepped out, then froze. His face drained of color as he stared at the limo, the boys, and Rachel looking radiant and composed. What is this?" he muttered. Rachel met his stunned gaze with a calm, cutting smile. "You invited your ex-wife. I thought you should finally meet your sons." Chaos erupted the moment Rachel's words settled in the air. Guests stopped mid-step, whispers turning into outright murmurs as Brooke hurried out of the bridal suite, her veil still half-pinned, confusion written across her face. When she saw the 3 boys, miniature reflections of the man she was about to marry, her breath caught. "Daniel, are those your children?" she asked, voice trembling loud enough for everyone to hear. Daniel stuttered, I didn't know. She never told me." Rachel stepped forward, her voice steady. "I called you. I emailed you. I messaged your family. You blocked every attempt I made. Your assistant told me you were too busy for drama. So I raised them alone." Gasps spread through the crowd. A couple of Daniel's business partners exchanged uneasy glances. Brooke looked at him as though seeing him for the first time. "You mocked her," she whispered, "while she was raising your children." Daniel reached for her desperately. "Brooke, listen." But she stepped back, slipping the engagement ring from her finger. "I won't marry a man who abandons his kids and lies about it." She placed the ring in his shaking hand and walked away. Rachel turned, squeezing her son's hands. Without bitterness, without regret, she simply said, "You tried to shame me today, Daniel. But all I did was survive, and rise." She guided the boys back toward the limo, leaving Daniel standing in the ruins of the wedding he had imagined would define his victory.